A couple of days ago, I was going through my old stuff, and I stumbled across the lost in the garage and already expired rations of the Portuguese army. So today we will not only taste the food of soldiers of the Portuguese army, but also make a super cool device that will help us. Portugal is a European country, which means that the food should be of appropriate quality and variety. We opened the package and sought the food for breakfast, lunch and dinner. Let's start with the little things. Here we have 4 of these tasty caramels to make it more fun for the soldiers to fight, and also 2 chewing gums to freshen their breath after a meal. By the way, who remembers which country had 3 toothbrushes in their rations? There are also sugar, salt and wet alcohol wipes. And this big pack of dry wipes, which is enough not only for wiping their faces and hands, but probably for something else. By the way, really, why don't they put in toilet paper for soldiers? They definitely go to the toilet, do they have to use the leaves? There are also pills for water disinfection, which we will check by the way. And these are the cutlery with damaged fork. Before eating, we wipe our hands with a wet napkin and take out the first course of our breakfast. It's a canned fish. So we open it up. Oh wow, that's great! It looks like a fillet of sardines and tomato sauce. We have a whole packet of these crispy salty biscuits to accompany the fish. You can eat it from the jar, or you can put the fish on top of the cookies and get a delicious little sandwich. In the ration, there are the same but sweet cookies, and especially for them, there's a package of sweet jam, which we couldn't open with fingers and had to use a knife. Sweet cookies and sweet jam make for a very tasty and sweet combination. And if you add this sweet apple juice, you will get a heaven for soldiers with a sweet tooth. We pour the coffee into a mug, then the sugar, hot water, and get a nice fragrant coffee. Our breakfast is ready. Well, breakfast is quite good. Candy cookies and jam will give you carbs, and fish will give you protein and fat. For lunch, we have to heat a dish in such a soft pack. For heating, the Portuguese, for some reason, put as many as 4 of these chemical heating bags. Probably 2 for food, and the other 2 so you can warm your feet by inserting them into a bag with these pellets. According to the instructions, you have to pour 60 mm of water inside, as a result of which the granules instantly begin to heat the bag with the food we put there. It immediately begins to emit a lot of flammable gas, and we are already afraid that it may explode. However, nothing happens, and in the meantime, we unseal the canned lunch. Here we have a tuna in vegetable oil. Oh, I love canned tuna. And with cookies, it's just perfect. We also get jam for lunch, but we haven't eaten everything from breakfast yet, so we put it on. And then we have an unusual thing. It's a soft tube of lemon-flavored energy gel. You just have to tear off the tip, put it in your mouth and squeeze it out. Enjoying this delicious and flavorable thing. It looks like honey, but it tastes completely different, and no worse. The main course has been warming up for a while now, and let's get the delicious food out of the bag. It looks like some kind of a cereal with peas, tomatoes and bits of meat. But that's not all. The Portuguese added this jar of different nuts mixed with raisins. Here we have such a lunch. It's difficult to fit everything on the plate. Even the hungriest of soldiers are sure to be fully satisfied. And while we're digesting lunch, let's finally check if the water disinfectant pills work. For this purpose, in the morning, we filled a jar with fresh water from a lake. And there is definitely something living in it. We take a sample and drop it under the microscope, and we see that there are a lot of living creatures inside. There are little ships floating around. Look at this big Ciliophora, and even this huge monster. Drinking this water is certainly a bad idea. Now, let's add a small piece of the pill to the jar, because the whole pill is designed for much larger amount of water. It begins to dissolve, flying up and down the jar, and after 5 minutes, we look at the sample. As expected, the activity of all sorts of living organism has decreased dramatically. Or rather, I can't find any at all. Only this already dead thing, which can hardly do any harm to anyone by being dead. And now, it's time for the most interesting part. Dinner! And it's not interesting just because of the food inside, but because of the way we're going to heat it up. Especially for this, we will build a small super compact stove, which won't need almost any fuel, because it itself is the fuel. Using a saw, we cut a piece of wood 20 cm high from an ordinary piece of wood. Then we take a wood drill with the diameter of 30 or more millimeters and make a hole at the top to a depth of more than 10 centimeters. Now we drill the same hole on the side of the log so that they join into one cavity. And our stove is ready. We just need to put a few small sticks into the stove and... wait a minute, I think there's something stirring in the bark. Those of you who've seen our past videos already know who's sitting in there. And it's about to get a little hot. After a couple of minutes, the stove heats up, there's a draft in it. And it starts to burn without any sticks inside. We pour our dinner into the pot. Then we take 3 small stones and put them on the edge of the stove, which is already very hot. And we were worried that the food would be burned. We put the pan on top and heat up the main dish. The advantages of this stove is that it's very small, efficient, produces no smoke, and burns for a very long time. To put it out, you just need to cover the top hole. A bag of powder for making an energy drink is included in the dinner, in case a soldier has a nighttime special operation and needs more energy. There are still plenty of canned goods and cookies left from breakfast and lunch, and combined with dark German chocolate, we get just a royal dinner. In the meantime, our stove has been burning for the 2nd hour. If you are interested, then we will make a similar stove in some other video, but from a large round log, and see how long it will burn.